Authorities in the United States say a suspected terrorist carried out a shocking and deadly shooting at Old Dominion University in Norfolk, Virginia, leaving one person dead and two others injured before the attacker was ultimately stopped by courageous students whose actions, officials say, likely prevented an even greater tragedy. According to investigators, the suspect entered a classroom where members of the Reserve Officers Training Corps were gathered and suddenly opened fire, turning an ordinary academic setting into a terrifying scene of chaos and fear. Students inside the room initially struggled to understand what was happening as the sound of gunshots echoed through the building. Within seconds, panic spread across the classroom as people attempted to take cover behind desks, run toward exits, or warn others nearby. Some witnesses later described hearing multiple shots fired in quick succession, while others said the atmosphere became filled with confusion and fear as students tried desperately to protect themselves and their classmates. Despite the danger, several students reportedly reacted with extraordinary courage and quick thinking. Rather than remaining frozen in fear, they confronted the gunman directly in an attempt to stop the attack. Officials say the students managed to overpower and restrain the attacker during a physical struggle, preventing him from continuing to fire his weapon. Authorities later confirmed that the suspect died after being subdued during the confrontation, though investigators are still examining the exact details of how the struggle unfolded. Law enforcement officials praised the bravery of those involved, explaining that their actions likely saved numerous lives by stopping the shooter before he could continue the assault. According to investigators, the quick intervention of the students dramatically changed the course of the incident, transforming what could have been a much larger tragedy into a moment that also demonstrated remarkable courage and solidarity among the people present. Emergency responders reacted swiftly after receiving reports of an active shooter on campus. Within minutes, police officers, firefighters, and paramedics rushed to the university, surrounding the building where the shooting occurred and securing the surrounding area. Tactical law enforcement teams entered the building carefully, searching room by room to ensure that there were no additional attackers or ongoing threats. At the same time, medical teams began treating victims at the scene before transporting the injured individuals to nearby hospitals for further treatment. Authorities confirmed that one person tragically lost their life in the attack, while two others were wounded and received emergency medical care. The identities of the victims were not immediately released as officials worked to notify their families. During the emergency, the entire campus of Old Dominion University was placed on lockdown as thousands of students and staff members received urgent alerts on their phones instructing them to shelter in place. Buildings across campus were locked, and students remained inside classrooms, dormitories, and offices while police conducted a full security sweep of the area. For many people on campus, the lockdown created hours of intense anxiety as they waited for confirmation that the situation was under control. Some students contacted family members through text messages and social media to reassure them that they were safe, while others remained quietly inside their rooms listening for updates from university officials and law enforcement. When authorities eventually confirmed that the attacker had been stopped and that there were no additional threats, many students expressed a mixture of relief, shock, and grief over the tragedy that had unfolded. Investigators from the Federal Bureau of Investigation quickly joined local police to begin a comprehensive investigation into the attack. Officials started collecting evidence from the crime scene, reviewing surveillance footage from across the campus, and examining the suspect's background in an effort to determine the motive behind the shooting. Early reports revealed that the suspect had previously been convicted in a case involving attempts to support the extremist organization Islamic State, raising concerns among investigators that the attack may have been influenced by extremist ideology. Authorities are now analyzing the suspect's digital communications, online activity, and personal connections to determine whether the attack was planned in advance or inspired by extremist propaganda. Investigators are also examining whether the suspect had any contact with other individuals who might have influenced his actions. Security experts say incidents like this highlight the complex challenges faced by law enforcement agencies in preventing acts of violence linked to radicalization. In recent years, officials have warned that some individuals influenced by extremist ideology act alone, making it difficult for authorities to detect potential threats before they turn into real-world violence. Because of this, investigators are now carefully reviewing the suspect's history, including his previous legal cases, travel records, and social media behavior, to determine whether there were warning signs that could have indicated the possibility of an attack. Officials emphasize that the investigation remains ongoing and that they will continue analyzing all available evidence until they fully understand what led to the shooting. The tragedy has deeply shaken the entire campus community at Old Dominion University. Students and faculty members described feeling shocked, frightened, and emotionally overwhelmed as they tried to process the violent incident that occurred in a place normally associated with learning and safety. University officials quickly announced the temporary cancellation of classes while the campus focused on security, investigation efforts, and emotional support for those affected by the attack. Counseling services and mental health support programs were made available to students, faculty, and staff who experienced trauma or fear during the event. Mental health professionals and crisis counselors were brought in to help the community cope with the emotional aftermath of the tragedy. Community leaders, government officials, and law enforcement representatives have publicly praised the bravery of the students who intervened during the attack. Authorities noted that confronting an armed attacker is extremely dangerous, yet the students involved acted decisively to protect themselves and others. Their actions have been widely recognized as heroic, and many people across the United States have expressed admiration for the courage they demonstrated during such a frightening situation. Officials say the students' quick thinking and willingness to act in a moment of crisis played a crucial role in bringing the attack to an end. The incident has also reignited national discussions about campus safety, security preparedness, and the ongoing threat posed by extremist violence. Universities across the country continue to review and strengthen safety protocols, including emergency alert systems, building access controls, and training programs designed to help students and staff respond effectively during active shooter situations. Experts say that preparedness and awareness can make a critical difference during emergencies, potentially saving lives when every second matters. Many institutions are also expanding cooperation with law enforcement agencies to identify potential threats early and improve overall campus security. As investigators continue their work, authorities remain focused on uncovering every detail about the events that led to the shooting. Officials say they are determined to understand how the suspect reached the campus, what motivated his actions, and whether there were warning signs that could have been detected earlier. Meanwhile, the community at Old Dominion University continues to mourn the life lost during the tragedy while honoring the courage of those who helped stop the attacker. Memorial gatherings and vigils have been organized as students, faculty, and local residents come together to remember the victim and support one another during a difficult time. Although the university community faces a long process of recovery, many people say the bravery displayed during the crisis will remain a powerful reminder that even in the darkest moments, acts of courage and unity can make a life-saving difference.